What's good, YouTube? Welcome to Draft Capital Sports. For the knowledgeable football fan who hopes their team always has a plan, we are about to
bear down
and get into how the Bears improved that defensive line, most notably that pass rush during this draft weekend with the draft picks and free agent signings that they had after the draft. But before we get started, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to make sure you stay locked in to Draft Capital Sports, where we provide all the NFL draft news, NFL offseason news, trades, etc. for your 2024 NFL offseason. Now let's get back to the video. Now, one thing that's being overlooked a little bit, I think, because of the Caleb Williams pick and, of course, the Rome Odunze pick, two very huge picks for the Bears in that top 10 of the NFL draft, is how they improved the defensive line. They made some very good pick with Austin Booker, first off, trading back into the 5th round and picking him up. But before we get into the players that they were able to pick up, let's first take a look at how this group improved with just the addition of Montez Sweat last year. Now, if you look at the chart above, this is the NFL team sack percentages from last season. Now, before the Montez Sweat trade, Sweat was traded to the Bears on October 31st. As you see, from November 5th, the Bears, their overall sack percentage was 3.29%, and the past 3 games was 2.52%. That was good for 31st in the league, only above New England, I should say. Then the next 3 weeks, just the first 3 weeks Montez Sweat played, that went up to 3.6 for the season and 4.42 for the next 2 games. So 2 whole percentage points in those first 3 weeks. Now, by the time we get to the end of December, the Bears are in the top 10 over the last 3 weeks in December at an 8.2 rating. And overall this season, 2.64 sack percentage rating by team. That's 2 full percentage points they improved just by the addition of Montez Sweat. So getting into some of these rookies that they've added some very sneaky good defensive linemen to this unit. And we're going to start with the 5th round pick, Austin Booker out of Kansas. Now, this was my best value pick for the Bears because in the 5th round, to me, they got one of the best pass rushers in this draft class. Now, he didn't test super well at the combine and during workouts. He only ran a 4.79. That is a little slow for his size. He's 6'5", 240, but he has the wingspan. He has the explosion with the 10-foot broad jump. And most importantly, he has the production. I'm a big production guy, especially for guys who play against pretty good competition at Kansas. Kansas plays good competition, even though they're not a very good football team historically. But he had 9 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 37 pressures. Now with Kansas, they're playing the likes of Texas, Illinois, BYU, in most cases, Oklahoma. In most cases, they are playing teams that just have more talent than them. So he's playing against some pretty good left tackles, quality left tackles that will end up in the NFL, and he's putting up those kind of numbers. Now, my player comp for him, as you would know if you watch my draft grades video, is Mark Anderson, former defensive end of the Chicago Bears during the Lovie Smith era. And I think he can definitely have that kind of impact in his first season with the Chicago Bears opposite Montez Sweat on that ascending defensive line. But the Bears were also able to get 2 very good undrafted free agent signings for that defensive line. And I want to start with talking about Jamree Kromah from James Madison University. Now, he's standing at 6'3.5", 274, 35-inch arms, 9-inch hands, 4.77 in the 40, 4.6 shuttle time, 1.6 10-yard split, and 7.34 in the 3-cone drill. Very good, very explosive numbers. Also a 10-foot broad jump. Again, that's very important for defensive linemen as far as their explosion getting off the line. Now, he had 59 tackles, 10 sacks, 20 tackles for loss, and 1 fumble recovery. Very impressive on tape. He showed that he was a transfer from Rutgers. He transferred to James Madison from Rutgers. He showed that he was a step above everybody he was playing against, and I think his testing numbers show that he can definitely make some noise early and often on that defensive line, especially from a pass rushing standpoint. Now, he shows impressive burst. He flashes strength at the point of attack, very powerful arms to shed blockers. Now, that 4.77 40 time and that 1.6 10-yard split, That's elite speed for somebody at 274. Now, his RAS score was a 9.65 out of 10. That is excellent. He's green. He's elite in every athletic category except for the shuttle time. That doesn't matter too much for defensive linemen. But other than that, you can see that this was a top athlete who went to Division II school, a little bit lower competition. But I think this guy will be a definite steal on that defensive line. He also has that position versatility that you need. He can play on the outside. He can play on the inside at that 3 technique. So I think this is a guy who will definitely be in that rotation and get a few sacks this season and definitely be able to provide constant pressure on that quarterback in relief of the starters. Now, last but certainly not least is Keith Randolph Jr. of Illinois, 6'3", 296 pounds, ran a 5.15 40, 4.18, 4.81 in the shuttle, 178 split. Not a super athlete, but again, very productive. When you watch Jerzon Newton's tape, number 88 for Illinois on the opposite side of that defensive line in that 3-4 pops out. On the interior, he gets constant pressure. He's capable of dominating short interior blockers. He's a very strong tackler, very good with his hands, a technician. Now, he doesn't move well side to side, but that's not what we need him to do. We need him to penetrate in that pocket and get pressure on that quarterback. Now, he had 53 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, and 1 pick. Now, those are his stats in 2022. He had a bit of a drop in 2023. Didn't show up well on the stat sheet, but did show up well on film. I think, again, this is a good rotation guy to have on that defensive line. Can be balanced, stopping the run and the pass. I think he's a very, very good addition to this defensive line at that defensive tackle position to go along with Gervon Dexter, Zach Pickens. The Bears have some pretty good young defensive tackles now on that team with the vets, DeMarcus Walker, Andrew Billings also being there. So let me know what you think in the comments below about this improved Bears defensive line. I think they're building something very special on that defensive line, especially with Coach Eric Washington now being in charge of that defense as a defensive coordinator, his specialty being that defensive line. If you look at that chart I showed earlier, Buffalo stayed at the top of the league in sack percentage throughout the season. This should be a close to a number 1 defense on this Bears team coming up in this season. I think with Caleb Williams being a rookie at quarterback, you're going to have to lean on the defense and the running game. I know everybody's excited about the weapons, but in real football, it's going to take Caleb time. Let's everybody be patient. Yes, he has a chance to break out, and having a great defense like CJ Stroud had last year with those Houston Texans will definitely help that process. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And thank you for watching Draft Capital Sports. We out. Peace.